Good morning. Good morning, traders. How are you all doing today? Karibuni sana. Glad that you all join us this fine Tuesday morning. Hope everyone is doing well. And I'm seeing a lot of familiar names in the room right now. So glad that you could all join us today. So I guess we can start. So hi everyone, how are you doing today? My name is Mitch Kaniero. I'm a trader with Afriforex, and I want to welcome you to another Afriforex daily analysis session. Now, you do know during these webinars, we as the Afriforex team, we analyze the markets, we identify what trading opportunities we would be looking at taking for the day, and that is the information we are sharing with you. So as usual, I'm not here alone, so we do have John. So he is in the back office. He'll be here to assist you, whatever questions or queries you have. So feel free to ask those questions either in the Q&A section or in the chat box, and John will be there to respond to you. Even if you just want to say hello to him, feel free to do so on the chat box. So we can jump straight into the pairs. So we'll start off with our watch list as usual before we move on to the next thing. So our watch list today, there's been not much of any change. So we can clearly see the same thing that we're looking at yesterday, the same thing that we're going to be looking at today. So we're going to be looking for buying opportunities on the New Zealand dollar, the British pound, as well as the Australian dollar. And we're going to look to mix and match these three pairs with all the pairs on the sell side. So that's the euro, Canadian dollar, Swiss franc, the US dollar, as well as the Japanese yen. Now, since we do not have any changes to our watch list and we'll be reviewing each and every pair, since we're the same pairs that we did have yesterday, let's have a look at a few screenshots that we did manage to get before we do jump on to today's pairs. So we'll start off with the screenshots. We did get Alvin. Alvin, you did manage to grab some nice selling opportunity here on the British pound against the US dollar. Very nice sell within the top of the range right there. Can really see the price coming down in your favor. So very well done this. But one thing we always mention is safe and responsible trading. So even though this trade is working out very nicely, the one thing we want to see is a stop loss. So if you can end up I'm hoping that your stop loss was possibly at the top there, but by the time that the price is already starting to come down like this, at least by this time, just try and make the trade risk-free. I've seen many times that the market could end up really going down and easily going straight back up and even passing where you entered. So in order to curb that, hope you manage some of your trade, make sure that your stop loss is at least break even. That makes you a lot freer mentally wise, right? So you can be able to end up looking for another trade, especially when the trade is running. Sometimes you make certain decisions. It's a human thing, but still very, very good job on this trade. Alvin, we did manage to grab also the euro against the US dollar. Very nice sell. There was a lot of weakness on the euro pairs. We did end up seeing, but very nice sell right there. Can really see price in your favor. Similar situation, stop loss. But I can see you do have your stop loss up there. So in this situation, you should be able to at least make sure the trade is risk-free. But very, very good job with those trades. At least you did end up making some good money there. So also next, we did get George Chege. He did manage to grab a nice buying opportunity on the euro against the US dollar. I guess this was a counter trade once the price did come down. I guess as you're seeing the price coming up, you did manage to grab a buying opportunity. The good thing is, even as the price is going up, you have already managed some of your trade, and we can see your stop loss is already above break even. At least this is a very, very nice trade right there. Take profit within that area. I do end up hoping it did end up getting towards that level, but regardless of whatever happens on this trade, at least you did end up coming out with some profit. So very good job on that trade, George. And you did also grab a buying opportunity, it seems, on gold. So looking here, for those of you who can't see, it seems that you did manage to grab your buying opportunity within this area. You can see the price coming up in your favor. So at least it's after you did see the buyers reacting. You did manage to grab a buying opportunity there, and you did manage your trade. You did manage your trade within that area where they're sellers. So very, very good job. And this is a process that you can and should be able to repeat regularly, each and every day, not necessarily trying to make the market make new highs or new lows. So very, very good job for those trade, that trade, George. Excuse me. So I want to thank everyone who did manage sending the screenshots to us yesterday. We really do appreciate it. Remember, if you do find any setups based on things that we do share or manage to take any trades, feel free to send them in to us. Our contact details are right there in the chat box. So we'll start off with today's pairs. So we'll start off with the New Zealand dollar pairs, mix and match them with the pairs on the sell side. Do the same thing with the British pound, then move on to the Australian dollar before we do have a look at the indices as well as the metals. So We'll start off here with the euro against the New Zealand dollar. Now, yesterday, our bias was to look for selling opportunities. Similar situation today. Now, you can see yesterday the market really didn't move from the London market open. Remember, we keep on pointing out 10, 3, and 4:30. When we were looking at this market yesterday, we did end up seeing the price had just broken this area to the downside. You can see at 9 o'clock. Remember, we did say if we did end up getting the price pulling back and holding below, there could be a potential sell. And you can see that's exactly what happened. Really, exactly at 10 o'clock, the markets really started taking off, broke these areas to the downside. We're hoping to see some pullback coming in, but when something is showing a lot of weakness, we hardly end up getting any pullback. So you can see the price really did continue. During the US session, or at least once the US market did open, there was a small hold before around 4:30 or so. The price did manage to continue going down lower. So the trade really did work out going down quite aggressively. But today, the bias is still going to be looking for selling opportunities. So we have identified these three areas where these sells could potentially work out from. So right now, based on where we're at, we're within an area where they're buyers. So as usual, we do not want to jump in on this trade within an area where they're buyers, especially looking for those selling opportunities. So let's wait to see if we can end up either getting a pullback coming in. You can see the way the buyers have actually even started reacting within this area. Hopefully, we do end up getting the price coming back within this area. We do see some signs of big boy sellers getting back interested within this pair. We could potentially look for more selling opportunities there. But if not, remember the price can still pull back all the way till this extreme area, especially when you compare it to a larger time frame. You can see from the 1 hour time frame, we just broke this area to the downside. There's a possibility that the price can come back all the way till the top within this particular area, testing this support and resistance area that was breached, and we could end up seeing now the market going to the downside at that point in time. So for now, we'll definitely wait to see what ends up happening. Something similar could happen. What happened yesterday, where if the sellers are really strong and the price is able to break this area to the downside and the price continues going down low, at least if we do get the price holding below, we should be able to continue looking for selling opportunities on the euro against the New Zealand dollar. So I hope that's clear on the game plan of what we're looking to do. Right now, the main thing we do want to see is a pullback, or at least waiting to see if the big boy sellers are actually going to come back in. So moving on to the next pair we did have, which is the New Zealand dollar against the Canadian dollar. Now, in this kind of pair yesterday, our bias was to look for buying opportunities. Did have these three areas, so just adjust it. So these three areas was what we did end up having. Initially, when we're having this session, there was an area where we did end up having our location right there. And we did point out that at least let's see if we could end up getting a pullback. Did also mention that even though we are having holding, or at least waiting for the price all the way down here, did mention that where this blue line was, that there was potential that the price could pull back that area because it did seem that the price has bounced from there multiple times. You can see we did get a pullback slightly during the London session before the price did manage to go to the upside. Did end up holding slightly for a similar situation. 4:30, we got a pullback, attempting to come back within this area. This was quite choppy as the price was bouncing within these areas. Even though it did manage to go up later on, this one would have been a bit difficult to get. However, today we've adjusted the levels. So at least to make it more clear, especially when you end up considering what the market structure is. So we clearly are within a range, bouncing between these two levels. So the fact that we're within a range, we do not want to jump in on any buying opportunities where there are sellers. So you can clearly see the way the sellers are reacting. So we're waiting to see if we can end up getting a pullback, potentially within the bottom of the range. But we do know, as long as the price is holding above this red support and resistance area, you can take note of the price. We will still be looking for buying opportunity. If the price actually ends up coming down lower, breaking and holding below this red support and resistance area, at that point in time, this pair will fall off our watches. So wait to see what ends up happening. Let's see if whether or not a pullback comes in. Ideally, market structure, most people know the basics in terms of within a range, you're meant to buy at the bottom, sell at the top. But guaranteed, most people end up being incited. So by the time they realize that it's a buy or they're waiting for confirmation, they seem to be buying, not realizing that they're back within the top of the range. And that's when the price starts coming down. All those late sellers start selling, not realizing they're selling at the bottom of the range. So you end up finding even the prices in the middle, you're in on two trades that are both at a loss. So you even start to wonder what it is that you're doing. So do make sure that at least try and follow those structures. Wait for the best areas to look for the buy. So if you notice the market structure is a range, wait for the trade either at the bottom of the range, or let's see if we can get the price reaching and holding above this range for us to look for those buying opportunities. So moving on to the next New Zealand dollar pair, we do have the New Zealand dollar against the Swiss franc. In this pair, Our bias yesterday was to look for buying opportunities, but just at the level slightly, at least the top. But both these areas are still the same. And you can clearly see when we're having this session, during the morning session right here, the price was within the seller's area. We did say we wanted to see if we could end up getting a pullback. Pullback came in quite aggressive. So around 10, 11 o'clock, still during the London session, we get the price coming to the upside and attempting to break this area to the upside right there. But since we have adjusted the level slightly, we have realized that this seems to be a probe. And you can see the price has come down, still holding below within this area. You can even see it today, it has attempted to do the exact same thing. So we're identifying in terms of one, market structure. So in this situation, potentially jumping into some sort of small range, or there's a possibility, since the price managed to come back within this area, we're tempted to go up higher. We did not. Maybe we might need a better price. So you could potentially end up finding the market coming down within this particular area, coming down a bit lower, maybe inciting a few people to look for sells. And at that point in time, that's maybe when we could actually end up getting those buying opportunities. So we'll be taking note of these three areas. Obviously, if this level doesn't hold, we'll be watching to see how the price ends up approaching within this bias area all the way at the bottom. So let's wait to see what ends up happening on that one as we move on to the next New Zealand dollar pair. Here we have the New Zealand dollar against the US dollar. The US dollar showed a lot of weakness yesterday, similar with the euro, but the euro did show a lot more. So in this situation, you can see the illustration that we had pointed out, either a breach to the upside or a pullback coming in. So you can see the pullback is what actually came in during the London session. It did end up going down to a smaller time frame. There were details there you could have actually been able to see. There was a nice buying opportunity there. But if you did end up missing that, you can see the price did manage to continue going up. Once we do get the price breaching and holding above within this area, if you do take note of the time, that was at 3 o'clock during the US market open. And you can see the US session did manage to continue taking the price up higher. So today, the bias here is definitely still going to be looking for buying opportunities, but definitely we do not want to buy at such a high price. Let's see if a discount can come in, and that's exactly what we're waiting to see. So right now, as the price is coming down, this is a good sign for us. Let's wait to see if we can end up getting this price coming back in within this area, seeing some slowdown of the sellers before we're able to look for the buy. If it doesn't work within this area, remember, the price can still come back down all the way till this red support and resistance area, and we could still be able to look for buying opportunities. But the first level we watch out for is this area, because you can see, most people know when the market is trending, we get higher highs and higher lows. So that's potentially what could end up happening now, where we've got the market going to the upside. Sorry for this word. We've got the price going to the upside right here. And you can see there's a pullback coming in potentially for us to end up continuing with our buying opportunities to the upside. So let's wait to see what ends up happening on this pair. So moving on to the next and last New Zealand dollar pair we do have, this is the New Zealand dollar against the Japanese yen. Now, yesterday, our bias was to look for buying opportunities, and you can see a similar situation. Yesterday, during the London market open, we did get that pullback coming in. Price ended up approaching, just missing our entry area slightly, but we did end up getting a there could have been an opportunity within there, as you see the buyers reacting quite aggressively, the sellers side slowing down, and there was a nice buying opportunity within that particular area. 3 o'clock, the price was holding within this area before it did end up attempting to break to the upside. And you can see on the pullback, the price has been holding, but only attempting to move today during the Asian session. We can see during the US session, the price was still holding within this area. But right now, during the Asian session, that's when it is attempting to break this area to the upside. But as you can see, the price has attempted to go up, but we've not managed to make any new high just yet, or have managed to actually hold above this particular area. So let's wait to see if this price is not necessarily good enough. Chances are, let's see if we could end up getting a pullback coming in. Hopefully, maybe it might end up probing within this particular area, inciting more people to look for those sells, and maybe that's when it will actually end up getting those buying opportunities. So that's a game plan that we'll be waiting to see what ends up happening. Obviously, if the price is able to break this area to the upside and holds above, then should be able to continue looking for buying opportunities on the New Zealand dollar against the Japanese yen. So hope that's clear on all the New Zealand dollar pairs. As you can see, we've mixed and matched the New Zealand dollar with all the pairs on the sell side. So right now, we're going to do the same thing with the British pound pairs. So we'll start off with the euro against the British pound. Now, similar story to yesterday with the other euro pair that we just had a look at, the euro against the New Zealand dollar. Wanted to see some selling opportunities. Similar situation at 10 o'clock. That's when the price really started coming down. Wanted to see whether or not we could end up getting a deeper pullback, but did point out, watch out for areas where there are sellers. Because remember, I did mention that this is an area where there are sellers. You can see that's where the price exactly reacted from, managing to come down. We're hoping to see some sort of pullback. Because usually when we end up seeing the price breaking these areas to the downside, what we want to see is a pullback coming back within that support and resistance area for us to actually continue looking for sales. But remember, we mentioned that once something is very weak, sometimes you do not end up getting those pullbacks. And there's a similar situation to that. So even though the price has come down, the only way we can actually end up looking to end up entering this trade is if we do end up getting a pullback. So we'll be waiting to see what ends up happening. And we'll be focusing on these three areas. Hopefully we'll be able to get a pullback within one of these locations. Remember, after such a huge move to the downside, what we're hoping to see is potentially the price coming back in either within this area. If we don't see any reaction within this area, we'll wait to see if we can end up getting this reaction right here. Once we're able to see some sellers actually reacting within that location and the buyer slowing down, that's when we'll be able to look for those selling opportunities. So we'll be waiting to see that game plan either within this location here or within this particular area right here. So let's wait to see what ends up happening on the euro against the British pound. So moving on to the next British pound pair, we do have the British pound against the Canadian dollar. This currency pair, yesterday, our bias was to look for buying opportunities. So the areas that we did have, we have adjusted them slightly, just based on how the market was reacting. So initially during the London market open, we're within this area where there are sellers. We do not want to buy within a seller's area. So remember, we're waiting for either a breach to the upside or a pullback. You can see how aggressive the pullback came in. But remember, we keep on pointing out. So let me just put a level where we did have the level yesterday. Remember, we keep on pointing out that we want to see the price holding below or above an area. That's the only time we confirm that a level has actually been broken. So you can see when the price attempted to actually come down lower, if it held below, then at that point in time, that level would have been broken, would have possibly been waiting for our buying opportunities within a lower price. But due to the fact that that did not happen, and you can clearly see, rather than staying to the downside, it actually managed to go to the upside and it held above. So this gave confirmation that this level was still holding and could have actually given us some nice buying opportunities. However, it did end up giving us those buying opportunities much later. As you can see, during the US session, the price was just holding, ranging within this area. And it was much later, around 10:30 at night, local time here in Kenya, that you can clearly see that's when the price did end up taking off to the upside. So that would have been a bit difficult to get unless you just had your trade there with your stop loss in a safe place at that point in time. But that doesn't mean that there won't be opportunities for us today. So we'll be watching to see, and we've adjusted the area slightly. So we'll be focusing on these three areas to potentially look for those buying opportunities. So we do have the seller's area right there at the top, which does seem to be reacting. We have the main buyers all the way down here at the bottom. So we'll be focusing on these three areas. Right now, if you end up even comparing how the buyers and the sellers are reacting. So if you look at the way the buyers have come up very strong, and right now look at the way the sellers are coming down, much slower. So let's wait to see when these sellers will slow down. Even though we have identified that they are slowing down, we need to give them a chance to actually go get tired. We don't know whether or not they're going to react within this area, or it could even come all the way down here. But the main thing we're trying to see is at what point in time will the buyers actually show some interest. If it's within this area, that's where we look for the buy. If we don't see anything there, we'll wait to see whether or not we can get the price all the way down within that area, looking for the same criteria. But that's the reason why the price breaks and holds below these red support and resistance areas, these pairs will follow our work. So we'll wait to see what ends up happening on the British pound against the Canadian dollar. So moving on to the next pair we do have, which is the British pound against the Swiss franc. In this pair, our bias was to look for buying opportunities yesterday. And you can see a similar situation that happened with the British pound against the Canadian dollar. The prices really did come down quite aggressive. After that, you can clearly see during the London market open, rather than holding below, the price came back in and was holding above. That could have given us a nice buying opportunity. Although this was around 1:30, around lunchtime or so, that's when the market did start moving to the upside. You can see it did manage to get all the way to the top, but the price never actually held above. And you can clearly see when such things happen, especially when probes happen, they do end up giving the markets to move within these particular areas. So today, the buzz here will still be to look for those buying opportunities. And we pretty much have the same areas because we can clearly see that they are still being respected. So we'll be focusing on buys based on these three locations. Right now, as the price has come down, let's wait to see whether or not we could end up getting a pullback, more of a pullback because we're starting to identify that we could potentially be in a range. And if that's the case, we do not want to do anything right here in the middle. Either we're waiting for our buys all the way down within this particular area, or if we do get the price break in this area to the upside and holding above, then we should be able to continue looking for buying opportunities there. But remember, don't start chasing the market just because you're seeing a big green candle. Wait to get confirmation that the price is actually going to hold above. You'll be able to save a lot of money just by avoiding such things. So moving on to the next pair we do have, which is the British pound against the US dollar. Yesterday, our bias was to look for buying opportunities. Similar correlation. Unfortunately, this one, you can see that the price came down. We did get a probe, but the price never actually held within this particular area. Usually, remember what happens is when a pair is strong versus a pair that's actually weak, because remember, we did end up having a look at the US dollar showing a lot of weakness. You can clearly see where the price has really gone to the upside. And remember what I pointed out within those trades that we looked at from Alvin, but if you did end up entering a sell within this area, even though you got a nice sell and you're seeing the prices all the way down here, if you did not manage your trade, either moving your stop losses within break even or closing some of your position, now imagine if this ended up happening and it actually ended up turning into a loss. Most people would not be happy about that. Chances of even them looking for the trade the next day might be low, or they might start revenge trading. So that's why we always tell you, manage your trade to make your psychology a lot better at that point in time. You'll be able to deal with a lot more. But you can see, fortunately, since we didn't get that probe coming in, we did manage to get the price going to the upside around 3 and 430. Because remember, we did end up having this level that we have adjusted today. Remember, this was exactly where the level was. But you can clearly see as the price broke the upside and held above around 430, there was a small buying opportunity there. However, today, we'll still be looking for those buys. Right now, we do seem to be getting a pullback, maybe something similar to what we did end up seeing yesterday. You can see the way the sellers really did come down, but we need to see how they're going to react within this particular problem areas. So right now, the pullback is coming in. Let's wait to see what ends up happening, whether or not we'll find a reaction within this particular area right here, something similar to what we're hoping, some sort of probe or price action signal within there for us to potentially look for a buying opportunity. That doesn't happen within that location. Remember, it can come down all the way to the red support and resistance areas, and we will still be looking for those buying opportunities. So moving on to the last British pound pair that we do have. This is the British pound against the Japanese yen. Yesterday, our bias was to look for buying opportunities. You can see the 3 areas that we had pointed out. This one did work out quite well, because you can clearly see the illustration right here where the price managed to actually come down. You can see once we did get a probe and the price was actually holding above, you can see there was a very nice buying opportunity to take the price up higher. And you can see that really did work out. And the reason why we always encourage, make sure you manage your trade within such areas, because you can clearly see we'd have the level slightly lower, but you can, sorry, apologies for that. But you can clearly see when the price attempted to go to the upside, we never got the price holding above. It came back in and actually held below. But let's see what ends up happening today, because you can see the price ended up giving us a slight pullback and is attempting to go to the upside. So we are getting the price actually holding above within this area, then we could potentially look for a buying opportunity there. But if we do end up getting a probe, chances are we could be coming back down all the way to this buy area right here in the middle. Remember, we could potentially be in some sort of range. Maybe this is a huge probe on a bigger time frame. So what you could end up finding, if we end up holding above here, then we definitely should be able to continue looking for buying opportunities. But remember, if the price comes back in and holds below, chances are we should be coming back within this particular area. We see the price is holding to the upside, then we should be able to look for buying opportunities there. So hope that's clear on all the British pound pairs. As you can see, we'll mix and match the New Zealand dollar and the British pound pairs with all the pairs on the sell side. So right now we'll move on to the Australian dollar pairs and do the same thing. So we'll start off here with the euro against the Australian dollar. You can clearly see our bias here was to look for selling opportunities yesterday, hoping to see some more of a pullback, but we've noticed on all the euro pairs from 10 o'clock, we didn't manage to continue grinding down lower, hardly giving any type of pullback. So today, bias here is still to look for selling opportunities, but chances are we might need to adjust this level slightly, just based on the overall story of how the price is actually moving. Because I know we were watching out to see how the market is going to react in this area, waiting for a pullback based on the bigger time frame. Initially, we thought that it might not actually happen today, but it seems that it's chances are it could still end up happening. So this will be the levels we'll be focusing on today. We're expecting, to remember, we did end up having a look at the euro against the New Zealand dollar, similar situation on the 1 hour time frame. for the big breach to the downside, we could potentially get the market pulling back to this support and resistance area. So that's the same thing that we're looking at with the euro against the Australian dollar. As the prices come down, potentially end up getting a pullback within this support and resistance area, even though the buyers do seem to be coming in quite aggressive. Let's wait to see what ends up happening within this area here. So right here, these are the levels we'll be focusing on. Aggressive sellers right there at the top. And remember, if the price actually breaches and holds above this area, then ideally there's no trade for us. But what we'll be hoping to see potentially some pullback coming in, the price attempting to come up within here, starting to slow down, not like the way they've come up very aggressive here. If we do see some sort of probe, and the price actually holds below, then we should be able to look for selling opportunities. Definitely watching out to manage our trade within this fast food area, but there's potential for it to come down lower. But even right now, all those people who must have been entering their sells, all of them getting stopped out, most people turning into buyers, don't be surprised if we end up actually getting the price coming back in, holding below this area. If we do end up seeing that, could actually end up finding a nice selling opportunity there as well. So we'll be waiting to see what ends up happening on the euro against the Canadian dollar. Now, sorry, the Australian dollar. Now, moving on to the Australian dollar against the Canadian dollar. Here, our bias yesterday and today is still to look for buying opportunities. So you can see the three areas that we had pointed out. Now, during the London session yesterday, we did end up getting a pullback. Unfortunately, could not get all the way to the main bias area. You can see the price attempted to come down again from the US market open, still within that seller's area as it came down lower. Similar situation, could not get all the way down lower. Seems that it came back within this support and resistance area where we did find out that it does seem to be in some sort of range. So unfortunately, you can clearly see the price has attempted to go up higher today. Could be something to do with the Australian dollar pairs, since we did end up having some fundamentals, some interest rate news, then this could be some potential pullbacks because we've been seeing a lot of strength on the Australian dollar pairs. But overall, we'll still be looking for buying opportunities on this. You can see we're within a range, and every time the price has actually been able to come all the way down to this area, then you can clearly see what ends up happening. The fact that the price never held below, came to the upside and was showing evidence that it was holding above, you can see what ended up happening next. So that could happen even now. At least that's something, some potential. So you could end up seeing if the price comes back in and you see the price holding above within this area, you could end up finding a nice buying opportunity. But do make sure you manage your trade within the top of the range. Remember, with ranges, we need to get a proper hold within these areas. And you can see how many times ranges do end up breaching and probing, quite a lot of times. So just be careful about that. Let's wait to see what ends up happening. The price doesn't hold above, and it actually ends up holding below this area. We will be looking to see if we can grab this buying opportunity where these main buyers are all the way down here at the bottom. So I hope that's clear on the Australian dollar against Canadian dollar. So moving on to the Australian dollar against Swiss franc, similar situation. We do seem to be in some sort of range. Yesterday, we did get a pullback in the London market open. We're within this buyer's area. You can see the buyers did work out quite nicely, coming all the way back to the end the main sellers are. And you can see the time the price was there around 4:30. The price never managed to actually end up getting a proper breach. You can see it was just a probe. Price confirmed that it was actually holding below. You can see the price managed to come down. We have tried again today, where you can see the price has managed to come back within this area. So we do still seem to be bouncing within this range. And you can see how choppy it's looking. So all those late buyers right there, even if you're trying to hide your stop loss, you might have put your stop loss below here, all of them getting stopped out. Now, all those late sellers, people who are thinking that now it's going to go down and start jumping in on sales, chances are they could end up getting stopped out. And that's why we'd always say, be patient within these areas, because you can see that level has not yet been broken. It does seem to be a probe for now, but let's wait to see. If we can get the price actually coming back in and holding, then we should be able to look for buying opportunities there, respecting the range. But do be careful on this pair, but ideally buy at the bottom of the range, not necessarily sell at the top, because overall we're looking for buyers. Ideally, we're hoping to see if we can get the price continuing to go up higher. So we'll be focusing on these three areas for the Australian dollar against the Swiss franc. Now, moving on to the next Australian dollar pair, we do have the Australian dollar against the US dollar. So in this pair, our bias here is to look for buying opportunities. You can see the three, or at least the two areas we had pointed out. So there are the three areas that we had looked at yesterday. Remember, we didn't mention that we did seem to be in some sort of range. Similar situation, we've got the price coming down. Couldn't get all the way down to the main bias area that we're hoping for. As you can see, during the London market open, the price managed to continue going to the upside. Similar situation yesterday where we had our level within this area here. You can see at 3 o'clock, so at 4:30, the price attempted to go to the upside, but has not really been able to take off. Now, today during the Asian session, that's when the price has actually gotten a bit of energy to go to the upside. So we'll be focusing on these three areas. Ideally, still looking for buying opportunities, but you can see similar situation is happening on all these Australian dollar pairs. The way they've come down quite aggressive, we do not know whether or not the price is actually going to hold below, or we could end up getting a probe. So if we do end up seeing that, there could be a potential buying opportunity. We need to watch out. Yes, we do have that level, but I would also encourage you to watch out for this area here, because you can clearly see this does still seem to be some sort of support and resistance area. As the price is attempted to go up higher, we've not gotten a breach. So even though you manage to grab your buying opportunity there, please make sure you watch out for this particular area, because we will definitely be watching out for that location. So I hope that's clear. The Australian dollar against the US dollar. As we move on to the next pair we do have, which is the Australian dollar against the Japanese yen. So on this pair, yesterday, our bias was to look for buying opportunities. And you can see the way the market did end up reacting quite nicely, coming all the way down lower, looking as if it was breaking this area to the downside. The buyers showed up. The price is actually confirmed that the price is actually holding above. And you can see there was a nice buying opportunity. This is around 2 p.m., just 1 hour before the US market opened. You can see the price really did manage to go to the upside. There was another buying opportunity. You can see once the price broke this area to the upside and on the pullback, that was around 4:30. That's when the price managed to go up higher, did not get a breach. And you can see confirming, same thing, the price actually holding within that particular area. So remember the times we always point out, 10, 3, 4:30 could potentially find some nice trading opportunities, especially if the prices are within such location. So today, the bias here is still going to be looking for buying opportunities. Now, initially, we did have these three areas, similar areas to yesterday. The reason why we have not adjusted them yet was because even though we saw the price all the way at the top here when we were analyzing the market early in the morning, we wanted to see if the price was actually going to hold above. So we still did identify that there was the next problem area right there at the top, but you can see as the price has gone up, it's just come straight back in, meaning this is a probe, especially when you end up looking at it, let's say at a higher time frame, or let's go to the 1 hour time frame. You can clearly see the price has attempted to go up, it's come back in. So it still seems that these areas do still seem to be holding. So if that's the case, then we're potentially in some sort of range within this area. Don't be surprised if the price is actually able to come down lower, even coming back all the way to this bias area. And then we do end up seeing the price going to the upside. So right now, we'll wait to see what ends up happening. The price is able to come back up and hold above this area. We should be able to continue with those buys. But for right now, we'll wait to see what ends up happening on the Australian dollar against the Japanese yen. So moving on, so I guess that is it for all the currency pairs. So you can clearly see we've looked at all the pairs, the New Zealand dollar, the British pound, as well as the Australian dollar. We've looked to mix and match all those pairs with the pairs on the sell side. So right now, let's have a look at the indices before we do move on to gold and silver. So we'll start off with the NAS 100. Now, yesterday, our bias was to look for buying opportunities. It's still the same situation today. So the areas that we did have do still seem to be respected based on the fact that we do seem to be still holding within those levels. However, do you remember I did point out that there seems to be some sort of bias area within here based on the fact that the way the price looked as if it came down and never held below this area. Maybe this was just a huge probe right there. And you can clearly see that this level still is being respected due to the fact that the price just bounced off that particular area and did end up attempting to go to the upside. But after that, you can even see during the US session, a place where this is meant to be a lot more active, there was hardly anything that did end up happening. So today, the bias here is still going to be looking for buying opportunities. So overall, based on a much bigger time frame, or at least the overall story, we should still be looking for buying opportunities. Now, the question is whether or not the price is actually going to be able to go up within this particular area right here. So if we do get the price actually breaching and holding above, then there could be a buying opportunity. But if there's potential that these buyers have attempted to go up within this price and it's not good enough, we might actually see what we were expecting yesterday. So even if I drag this all the way down here, could end up expecting something similar to this where the price could still pull back down all the way to this buyer's area before we are able to look for those buying opportunities. Because remember, the overall structure could be the range, but do watch out for this fast problem area right here. Could end up potentially even just setting an alert within that location. So when the price approaches there, you see what kind of reaction you do end up getting. So let's wait to see what ends up happening. But right now, that is what we're going to be looking at on the NAS 100. So moving on to the Dow Jones, the US 30. So in this pair, our bias yesterday was to look for buying opportunities. So the areas that we did have are these areas that are highlighted. Wanted to see whether or not the price was able to come down a bit lower. Similar story with the other pair that we looked at, the NAS 100, where the price just came slightly lower, found some other support and resistance area before actually going to the upside. But during the US session, nothing much happening. So today we've realized that we've adjusted the level slightly. We've realized that this market does seem to be in some sort of range bouncing between these levels. So overall, we'll definitely be looking for buying opportunities on this pair. So we have the main seller area at the top. So since we're so close to that area, we're not going to jump in on any buying opportunities just yet. We need one of two things happen, either a discount or evidence to show that the buyers are really in play. So that would look like that. So if the price ends up holding above that area, then there could be a buying opportunity. But since we're within an area where the sellers, these sellers could end up reacting as the session, but at least we are approaching the London market open. So remember, the price, when it's within a buyers or sellers area, when the market is opening, we could end up finding a reaction. It's not a guarantee, because sometimes we've seen many times where the prices actually break those areas to the upside. Even though we're within a seller's area, the buyers still take over. So we're waiting to see whether or not there's going to be a breach or the pullback coming in. If the pullback comes in, we wait to see what ends up happening within this first location. If nothing happens within there, in terms of no buyers showing up, then we wait to see whether or not we can get the price coming down all the way to the main buyers area down there. So hope that is clear on what we're looking at doing on the Dow Jones. So moving on to silver. Now, silver yesterday and today, our bias is to look for buying opportunities. Nothing really much happened, except the market did end up giving us a nice probe. You can see as the price really came down on the pullback, the price never held below. It actually came back in and was holding above. And if you do notice the time that was at 3 o'clock. You can see the price attempted to go up higher. Unfortunately, at 4:30, once the New York Stock Exchange opened, the sellers did end up attempting to come down low, but it just showed us confirmation that this level we had yesterday was still holding. And you can see today during the Asian session, they have tried again, giving us a pullback. So we'll still be waiting to see what ends up happening on this pair. So right now, we'll still be focusing on the three same levels that we did end up having. As long as we're holding above the red support and resistance area, our bias is to look for buying opportunities. So if the price breaks and holds below the red SNR, then at that point in time, we will actually switch our bias and turn into sellers. But for right now, let's wait to see what ends up happening. We're back within this bias area. And let's see if we can end up getting something similar to what we did end up seeing yesterday. To get the price actually showing us confirmation that the price is holding above this area, we should be able to look for a buying opportunity. So do watch out for that on silver. But remember, if the price comes down, holds below, we wait to see whether or not we can end up getting our bias all the way down here. But do take note, even though we have this particular area, the fact that yesterday the price reacted within this area, this is also an area you should end up watching out for. So even if the price comes down, let's see what kinds of reaction happens there. And if it's there within one of the market opening times, remember 10, 3, and 4:30. So moving on, last but not least, the fan favorite for gold, because most people like trading gold, mainly because either what it moves a lot, but it does also end up having a lot more risk. But anyway, let's see what ends up happening here. So yesterday, our bias here was to look for buying opportunities. You can see the three areas that we had pointed out. Remember early in the morning, just mentioning that even though the price looks as if it's a break in this area to the upside, you might end up actually getting a pullback, and that pullback really did come in quite aggressively. Now, the price did end up seeming to be holding within this area, and it did end up starting to react around the London market open. So the US session open, you can see the price was back within an area where there's sellers. But once the price is able to break that area to the upside, we get a slight pullback around 4:30, where the price confirmed that it was actually holding above. But we do not have enough strength during the US market yesterday. However, during the Asian session today, it seems that the price really did manage to take off. Most likely because yesterday there was a holiday, a Japanese holiday, bank holiday, so there was not necessarily much activity. Maybe that's the reason why today being the first day up for the week, maybe that's the reason why there's been a lot of volatility during the Asian session. So today, the bias here is still going to be looking for buying opportunities as long as we're holding above this red support and resistance area. You can see the point of actually waiting for confirmation. You can see all those late buyers would easily have been stopped out. So right now, the fact that within a buyer's area, let's see if we can end up getting some sort of probe or price action signal within this area for us to look for the buy. Do watch it, make sure if they are taking a trade there, manage your trade within this seller's area. But if not, remember, if the price is able to come down lower, and we are actually able to break this red support and resistance area to the downside, at that point in time, we will actually switch our bias and start looking for selling opportunities. As you can see, each and every day, gold has been making all-time highs, as we kept on mentioning. So the day before yesterday, all-time high. Yesterday, all-time high. And today already, we already have an all-time high for gold. So let's just wait to see what ends up happening. But do watch out for these three areas. Remember, the red SNR is the reason why we are still looking for buying opportunities. If the price breaks and holds below there, we'll start looking for selling opportunities on gold. So that's pretty much it for all the pairs, as you can clearly see. In terms of fundamentals, we do have some more fundamentals coming out today, some Euro news at 11 o'clock. So we do end up expecting there could be some volatility at that time. Maybe they might end up giving us some pullbacks, because remember, the Euro has showed us a lot of weakness. So if everyone is looking for those sells, where will people actually make money? So chances are this news could incite a few people to look for buying opportunities, where you might find a bit of strength coming in during the London session, then during the US session, maybe the weakness will continue. But we will end up informing you on the Telegram channel if there are going to be any changes to the watch list. So that's pretty much it. So I can be able to address any questions on the Q&A section. And seeing Esther Kabiru, you're saying thank you, Mitch and team. Karibu sana, Esther. Glad to see you here as well. Yeah, so karibu sana. So I'm not seeing any more questions, which is okay. We do need to end up jumping onto the charts. Remember what happened yesterday at exactly 10 o'clock. That's when the prices did end up starting to move. So at least to give us a few more minutes to prepare. So prepare at least for the London market open. Now, remember, we also have a few courses, guys, that if you are interested. So we have the AMP. That's something that we're really doing right now. Looking for trading opportunities, watch at least making sure that we're working with you guys each and every day, looking for trading opportunities together, learning from that. And hopefully we'll end up getting a few of the AMP students coming in to at least talk to you guys to see how that is. But if you are interested, feel free to let us know. You can fill out the form right here on Afriforex.com, and we will end up reaching out to you. We'll give you a call. At least we'll see where you're at and see what we can do for you. So once again, I want to thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope I've given you guys as much value as possible, and I hope you guys have found value in these sessions. We do end up hoping you learn a lot as well as make some good tips on the charts. So once again, I want to thank you guys so much. Have an amazing trading day. God bless. Happy trading, and bye for now. Cheers, guys.